Here she goes. All right.
There it is.
All right.
Okay, blue button.
How are you?
I'm okay. Wild, big times.
It's, yes,
Big
wild
times.
and big times. We got to do what we have to do right now. But, I've been checking in on all my friends, especially all my queer women friends, all my queer trans friends, all my queer. But you know what? I have to tell you, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like my queer friends are slaying the game right now. Like they're like, you know what? This fucking asshole's not going to take my joy. We already did this once. This sucks and there's going to be a lot of shitty things that might come from this. But more than anything, I've just recognized that other people are finally recognizing that like we need to just take care of ourselves. Like we need to really step up now and take care of ourselves and help each other as much as possible. Because first of all, why we ever thought our government was really going to do that? Like
it's just like such a convoluted like thought pattern. Like it's an old thought pattern, you know what I mean? But it's like so parental.
Yes. It's very vintage and not in a good way. It's very retro.
Bad retro.
It's a throwback that does not need to be coming back.
Yeah.
I know.
Absolutely.
It's weird. It's totally weird, but I know. So that's actually provided me a significant amount of peace. Just like checking in on my people and being like, how are you? Like, how's your heart? And people are like, I'm not even mad because everybody, we're going to get ours. Everybody's going to get theirs. Like, we don't have to do anything. We literally don't have to do anything at all. It's gonna make itself. It's gonna happen now, regardless, for everybody. And maybe it'll flatten out the playing field a little. Who knows?
Right?
I don't know. Knows? We've been already on the struggle. Like really, and so we know how to survive. And this type of trans and queer resilience that I see now is the trans and queer resilience that I feel like we have been missing for a while in our community.
Interesting.
I feel like and this is maybe just the people that I have been around. Maybe it's just some, people in a small circle. I don't even know. But like I owned a queer hair salon for 5 years, over 5 years. And I was steeped in queerness. Like that's all, literally, it was the only people that I served. And I remember thinking like, I don't know if this is a generational thing or if this is like even a race thing. I don't know if it's like, I couldn't get my, like, couldn't take the temperature of it, but I just felt like there were a lot of like queer folks that just were super fragile and had forgotten kind of like the shoulders that we stand on. And I remember thinking like, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm aging and my elders thought the same thing about me, like, what I mean?
Sure.
Suck it up, like, whatever. I'm like, I don't want to turn into that old person that's like, like rub some dirt in it and you'll be fine, but so like I was really sensitive to that, but I just was like, but what happened? And I felt like there was a lot of infighting going on and a lot of strange canceling. And I was just like, I don't know what this is, what's going on here. But so, yeah, now I'm seeing something very different. So
good.
I don't know. How about you?
It's really interesting because my wife is trans. She has only been transitioning for like, let's see, what year is it? Maybe like 2 years. Maybe two. The past
Time
like
is
4 years. I just
strange,
don't. The years are really hard for me to understand.
Me too.
But so she's like earlier on, like she hasn't like So it's really interesting because there are like services and care that she's like signed up for, and it's just like, okay, will we be able to still get access to those specific gender affirming care in California. I know that like the governor's trying to do some stuff. Who knows how this is all going to shake out? But it's so I'm think, and she also like hadn't made her name change official yet. So there's just like there's that side of it that is in our whole household that is like, all right, let's make sure that we're not missing anything. Let's get all of the documentation figured out. We can like do the thing where you update your marriage license after all of the other things are done, and we'll get certified copies of everything. And it's just not something that we as a couple, I've known myself to be queer, but Sadie hasn't. So I've viewed our relationship as a queer relationship, but she didn't. So like there's also that sort of, I wouldn't even say tension, but it's like we're operating on slightly different levels. And she's also like a worrier at heart. And she would tell you that at heart. Like she's always just been a worrier. So, but what's really great is I'm seeing her tap into her anger, which I think I'm seeing a lot of my queer people do, is just let their anger like be a little bit more embodied, a little bit more loud. And that I think is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Every emotion is valuable and valid right now and needed. I mean, honestly, one of my partners is trans too, and he and I have been together for about 9 years.
Okay.
And he has, I think, initially was like, you know, because gender affirming care is not, it doesn't end,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's continuous. Yeah.
it's a forever situation, you know, and trans women and trans men have two completely different, you know, sets of situations,
Absolutely.
but both need HRT and need regular checkups for all of the body
Mm-hmm.
parts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And especially
Mm-hmm.
if you're new onto HRT and you don't know really how it's going to respond with your body, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a serious and significant amount of, you know, I don't know, mystery that doesn't feel like Scooby-Doo mystery. This feels like not good mystery. Is, you know, it's like
Yes.
the tapping into the what the fuck is going to happen. But at the same time, my mom used to say this to me. My grandmother used to say it in Spanish. Worrying is like praying for something that you don't want. And it's impossible not to worry when your physical body may not be protected, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like there's a limit to how much worrying we can do. There really, really is, because it will make us sick. And if we're
Mm-hmm.
sick and we're tired, they've won. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then at the same time, it's a total normal and valid feeling to be pissed and worrying. So
Yeah.
I've been practicing the art of discernment.
Best art to practice.
Best art, right? Just it's like I don't want to be, you know, blissfully ignorant, but I'm also
Yeah.
not going to be freaking, you know, super deep into all of the chat rooms. Like I can't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to go sifting through all the comments underneath, you know, some hateful posts. I'm not going to do
Oh
that,
yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and limiting news consumption and just limiting social media consumption, like discernment, discernment, discernment. And just that dance is going to be a forever dance. And at least for the next 4 years,
Absolutely.
just got to
Yeah.
be, you know, and this work feels more important to me than ever
Oh,
now.
absolutely. I bet.
Right.
Yes. It's vital. It's vital. You're giving people such a great chance to be present with more of themselves online on the table.
Totally. Everything
Huge.
online. If we don't have our minds available to us, we really don't have anything available to us. So the healthier and stronger our minds are, the better, you know? So in saying that, how is your mind? Tell me some things have you noticed anything since the last time we saw each
Mm-hmm.
other?
Mm-hmm. It feels like I can have a conversation with a piece of my brain that before has been like nonverbal and has just been, I mean, like staticky, truly. Like I know that that image came up for us last time, and it's like it's the persistent image because I think it's the only way I can really describe it. Is it had been staticky, so obscure, present, but like indefinable in not a great way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've noticed myself I've really been able to notice when that part's coming around, have conversations with it, and really get to parent it. I mean, it's only been a handful of weeks, but I've noticed a pretty significant shift. I also have this practice where when I have like a really strong defender part, um, if it has like, and thankfully they have had like, it's been symbols that I can work with, um, like Pokemon. And if there's one that's particularly tough, I'll get a little stuffed animal of it. So I have a little Geodude stuffed animal. He's a rock Pokemon, right? So good. Great. Oh, great. I just think the brain is so funny. Um, but so I have a little Geodude stuffed animal, and I noticed that was really helpful. But then I was like, I love the practice. I'm doing it. I have a toothless stuffed animal. I have an onyx stuffed animal. And I got a possum stuffed animal, and we call them Storm.
Oh,
They're here. They're very cozy, like so I get to like wrap Storm up in a blanket sometimes. We cuddle to go to sleep. I can tell like when Storm just wants some quiet time. Like Storm doesn't want to be in the front of the house today. Storm's sleeping. Storm doesn't have to do work. Storm's sleeping. Storm's resting. Um,
in your cave, baby, and you
yeah,
can
in
stay
the
there
cave.
however long you want.
And I've like as I've just been doing like other meditation, like just, the kind of maintenance that we do, our maintenance practices, Storm and Ray have kind of like come around, been like, hey, just checking in. Like, hey, how are y'all doing? And I think they're like getting more comfortable with each other, getting more comfortable with me. And I definitely noticed that there's a limit to Storm's capacity. Like, and when we hit the wall, we're like, we are so done. We are tired, and it's like we go offline. Um, and I've noticed that a little bit in myself as well, where like, wow, we're doing some stuff's feeling a little bit easier. And then it's like, oh, it's 6:30 and I might go to bed, even if I don't need to.
Yeah. That's and now before did you um did you work through that wall?
I wouldn't even, I would be working through static. So I would just be vlogging, throwing shit at the wall, trying to see what sticks, maybe panicking and sweating, trying to work through it like on my walking treadmill. We're not doing our best lifing in
Totally.
those.
Totally. Yeah, we're just going to charge through this like it's not even happening because,
Yeah.
what other choice do we have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair choice.
So really these limits kind of feel like maybe they sound to me like boundaries.
True. Yeah. Yeah. It does feel like that.
Okay. Okay. So in a way, this feels new because maybe we haven't had those kinds of limits before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
especially because, this is a brand new subconscious neural pathway. I think it will be important to kind of pull that apart a little bit and see what that
Mm.
feels like, because we might want to change the language around that. we might we maybe it is a limit, but does
Mm.
limit feel like the right word? Does boundary feel like the right word? Does indicator feel like the right word? Getting kind of
Mm.
clear about actually what that energy is and how that feels. And you might know right now consciously, but something else might come up through hypnotherapy as well.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I've noticed that alongside all of this, and a few weeks prior, I have been recalibrating like professional relationships, friendships that got a little sticky professionally, that like that was gathering dust, and wanted to deal with, financial kind of boundaries. And then along with that, I think is like I would say probably, well, who knows? I don't even know what word that would be, but my like ability to care, so to speak, like before hitting overwhelm, I'm just like, fuck, whatever. Like whatever's happening, it's fine.
Yes.
I'll deal with it when I can deal with it,
Yeah,
which like God
absolutely.
knows when that will be. Versus being able to be like, okay, well, I can see that we're like, it's like the sushi conveyor belt. Like we're plates are coming down, plates are coming down the road, and I'm eating them.
That one looks good. No, not that one, but that one does.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
totally.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I feel like I was talking to my wife about this. It's a symbol that's been, I think, is just everywhere as we're all thinking more system wide. Whatever, but this for me internally, it feels like this particular tangle of brain is like the stone that is in like an arched stone that's like the top one, where like if you put it in, they're all together, and if you take it out, they crumble.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that kind of a deep work.
Yeah. I think you're right on. I think you're right on. And I think that what's so amazing about hypnotherapy and this work is that it's super deep, but and so powerful, but it feels like no big deal, kind of. Isn't that strange? Like, I know we haven't seen each other in a couple weeks, but it throughout the couple weeks, has it felt at all that you're like, oh, I'm really, practicing and doing it's a slog? Like, oh, I have to really like it just kind of did it feel like
Mm.
more natural, or was it some place in the middle?
I would say it has felt natural, like walking down a path feels natural. And there have been times where there have been big boulders that I need to walk around, or like some fallen trees. And it might feel a little bit more like an alarm is going off inside. But then honestly, I just remembered the little finger pinchy technique. And that, like, when I do it, my body, it physically relaxes. My shoulders drop, my weight drop, like my center of gravity drops. And like, so I'm walking and I have a great tool in like this little finger thing.
I know. that anchor that anchor is wild. I mean, it's honestly, it's the thing that a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to be all right, this it is what it is, but you've given yourself the permission and you have asked your body, you have said,
Mm,
body, would you be open to relaxing when we all
mm.
need to relax? And the body says, yes, please, and thank you. You know what I mean? So like
Yes.
it's just a moment
Yeah.
of permission. Like,
Mm,
and you using that tool is profound. I mean, some people, it's interesting, even when doing hypnotherapy, you would think that lots of people want to actually heal. They want to do the healing work, right? But some people just don't, they don't
mm.
they don't use the tools. But that's also informative, it's also
Yeah.
informative on how, if we're going too fast, if you know what I
Sure.
mean. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
tells me that we're right on par, we're right on cue, we're not going too fast. In fact, he had one hypnotherapy session, just one. We haven't seen each other in a handful of weeks, 3-ish weeks, I think, maybe 4. And your results after one hypnotherapy session is profound, like
It's pretty cool.
pretty cool. Yeah. So, in your words,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I'm probably gonna, like arrange this a little bit differently, but in your words, can
Hmm.
you give me a little recap of our first session, like why you
Hmm.
came and what we did and what you got out of it? Well, you don't have to do what you got out of it because you just did, but why you came and what we did and like what came up for you during the hypnotherapy session that really
Hmm.
stuck out to you.
Hmm. Absolutely. And if I forget something as I'm going along, please feel free
I'll
to
help you out. Yeah.
remind me. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay. I remember in our intake, our first session together, we talked about the wall that I would come up against. And this is a wall that I have been dancing with, or like dancing against, maybe is a better way of saying it. I've been coming up against it in therapy, in EMDR, in somatics, in any other modality that you can think of. It's present, and I feel it in my working life, in my creative life, in my personal life, in my relationships. It would get to a point where there would be the switch would just kind of go off, and my brain would fuzz, no words, and I kept coming to that place, even with all of the tools that I had in my belt. And that was really frustrating. Definitely. So I came here specifically wanting to work on the wall, or like the maybe the fragmentation between the wall parts and the artist, the builder, the creative in me, because it's something that I have historically pushed through when it comes to client work. Honestly, even with relationships, it's something that I do my best to just plow through. But when it comes to my own work, or really even taking care of myself, I just stop at the wall. Don't have energy to like dance against the wall. So in our summary, thoughts? Decent? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So in our first session, we decided to go to the root to try to see if we could get the wall part and the artist part to come forward. And they did. And we learned that the wall part is this 2-year-old version of me that is trying to keep the world out, and specifically trying to protect from mom, but also just trying to create a bit of almost like white noise. So I think the static makes a lot of sense, because it's just kind of trying to drown out whatever else is going on. And this piece of me didn't know that, I'll say this little part, this little possum part, thought that I was 2 years old and that I couldn't be trusted. And we established a relationship and decided that we would, like try to build some trust. I feel like when we ended our first session, Jesse, you asked some questions that were like, do you think we could like build some trust? And the storm part was like maybe, like time will tell, kind of a vibe. So we also connected with the artist part, who goes by Ray, and they're doing pretty good. They're healthy, but they are definitely aware of Storm and Storm's presence. And I'm trying to think if they talked at all in our first session, but I don't think they really did. They just kind of were in the same, on the picnic blanket for like together.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of a storm show, and
Yeah.
it needed to be, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that Ray was there for a lot of the witnessing.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. And just for some clarification,
Mm-hmm.
the storm,
Mm-hmm.
how did storm show up? Like
Yes.
in your imagery?
Okay, yes. Storm showed up as a possum, and then like very clearly had their name locked and loaded, ready to go as Storm. And interestingly enough, when we were talking with the Ray part, there was a storm that kind of moved in over the horizon when she started talking about like, I can do some creative work, but it's tricky. Like it's literally, she used the verb like stormy. It gets stormy. So then when our Storm the possum came through, I was like, okay, this is making a lot of sense. Storm also created or maybe we created it together, their little safe place where they can go and rest. And it was like a very womb-like cave, red velvet upholstered cushions all over the place, circular, cozy, dark.
Yep.
So it felt very, very just very womb-like, very tucked in the body of the earth.
And Ray was around 12 years old. And yeah, we didn't really hear much from them except for they really liked the ambiance. They liked the jungle, they liked the mushrooms, the plants, the trees, the animals. They really liked that. Like they were like, this is cool. And they were there to kind of like just kind of witness in a way. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of there's so many directions we can go to from here. And I want to hear from you what you think might be helpful from this point. I mean, we've gotten a lot of really good results, especially in life. Like you're, feeling so much better. But I'm curious, like, what do you think about that wall? Is that wall feeling a little bit less, you know, um, I don't know, I guess resistant, or I don't know what word you want to use for it, but how is that wall feeling? The literal reason why you came.
Yeah.
How's that feeling?
I would say the wall feels it feels more like something I can relate to, versus something that was immovable or almost like ineffable, like it's just unknowing, but so dense. But there are still like I'm gearing up to do a little bit of work on this project, and I feel the wall like rising out of the ground a little bit. It doesn't feel as impenetrable, but it still feels present, and which makes sense. Um, I feel like I have more tools to like maybe move with the wall a little bit, but it still feels a little big.
Okay. Well,
Does that make sense?
yes, it does. It's like it's still there. It's making its presence very known. It's still very it could even be pretty noisy or pretty loud. But it doesn't feel like um as kind of like, that phrase, stuck between a rock and a hard place, that type of thing. Maybe it just feels like the rock now, or just the hard place. There's a little bit of movement still, like moving,
Yeah.
able, or you're able to relate to it and understand it a little bit more, so it's not overwhelming you in the way that it did before, but it's
Yeah.
still pretty present.
Yes. I would say that's exactly it. Because the mystery of like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
What's going on here? What's broken in me, to be frank?
Right.
Having some like flesh that out a little bit, like that's huge because it helps my self-image. It
Yeah.
helps me understand my brain, helps me understand like how I am as a person. But we're still working with it. But even just knowing a little bit more about what's going on in there is it's relief. It relieves anxiety.
It's loosening up a little bit.
Yeah,
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 because
yeah.
when we think, oh, what the fuck is wrong with us? What's going on with our brain? I mean, there's no other way to relate to that except for like, oh, God, it's broken, and like, what's the
Again,
point of even like messing with that? Like, can I just buy a new one? Like
yeah,
but we can't just buy a new one. It is, we got to work with what we got. And
yeah.
then realizing there's literally nothing wrong or broken. It just needs to be, it needs to be rearranged, and
Yeah.
everybody needs to be working within their kind of, I don't like to use the word preference, but I feel like, what are you good at? What do you want to do? And what do you not want to do? What are you not feeling great at? Like, let's remove that from your needs list, or let's remove that from you to like, that's not a box you have to check anymore.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
some other part check that box that wants to check that box. What's complementary to you and what's not. And that's kind of what we're doing, is like repatterning, kind of moving things around a little bit. Sometimes it takes a little while though,
Sure.
yeah. So I think I think this sounds, this is good to know that the wall's still here, but it's feeling like it's moving a little bit. I wonder if some of the wall or the feeling of the wall, and maybe you'll know this, does it feel like you lack the motivation or does it feel like you lack the creativity?
Motivation.
Motivation. Okay.
For sure. For sure. There's a strong, like, it doesn't really matter kind of a voice. Like, it just doesn't matter. Let's just do that.
This is interesting. Okay. That's interesting to me because the motivation when we're working in hypnotherapy around motivation, we really focus in on why something does matter, because
Mm,
oftentimes when we have lack of motivation to exercise or eat right or whatever it is, there is a lack of worth around that. Not necessarily self-worth, but it's
mhm.
just not, that's not worth my time, or there's not, it's, there's a sense of worth to that. So
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something under, like, or maybe something that the wall even could talk to us about or tell us even more um, about why that feels like it doesn't matter. And maybe we can create some kind of emotional tie to why it does
Mm.
matter. And I think you'll probably be able to tell me something like that right now in this moment. Why do you think that it would matter?
It's actually hard to even formulate thoughts around it.
That is incredibly informative. It's okay. That means that there's something subconsciously like, I really can't tell you because I really do not know.
Yeah.
That means that that road isn't even paved. It's still the woods.
Yes.
No contractor or anybody has even looked at that thing yet.
Yes, it is fresh. Fresh, untilled earth. Just,
Exactly.
yeah.
Totally. Okay. That's great feedback. This is such good. This is really, really good stuff to be able to work with. Um, Now there's a couple different ways that we can do this, a couple different things we can do. We can go back into parts. We can talk to whatever part you want to, or I can give suggestions. So we can definitely go back into parts, or we can do some imagery work. And imagery
Mm.
work is kind of like, it feels like a guided meditation, but it also has this kind of, it's got this undertone of kind of like maybe we carve out the path of, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
oftentimes it doesn't necessarily feel like it's related. Like some of the words I might not use, like, okay, now we're chipping away at this motivation piece. It might be like, okay, we're actually paving a road in this untilled earth or something like that, just to
Mm.
kind of open the subconscious mind to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you actually really worked very well the first time, literally, with very little literal suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
It worked very well for you to kind of go directly in, just dive deep really quick. So we can do something like that if that feels like it's working for you. That's also okay. Um, and we can do that with parts work, or we can do that with imagery, and we can mix the two together a little bit. But
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's ways to kind of do that type of thing too, where the parts kind of come through and they do some work for us, and they kind of
Mm.
start chipping away at things and doing their own little thing. So there's a lot of different ways that we can go about this. But what do you think? Do you have any ideas around that? Because this is a collaborative process.
Yeah. I mean, the mix
Yeah.
sounds fun. The
Okay.
mix sounds fun. They both
Yeah.
sound fun.
Yeah.
So I trust you to mix and, like, mix it up uh however you see fit.
Okay. Wonderful. I love that. All right. I think that I think I got some good stuff. Now, do you think it's important to invite any of the parts that we've spoken to for this particular situation for today?
I will say I don't feel like there's any that neither of those parts are like banging on the door and they're not like, look, I got to be at the table.
Okay,
They're not
cool.
doing that.
Good.
So I think if it doesn't happen, I think that's everyone's still on board. No one's
Okay.
going to throw up a red flag.
Totally. And I think you're going to know, and I think you're going to know when it's time to kind of bring Ray back, to bring Storm back. I think you're going to know. And that's why I kind of asked, because I don't want to, not that any of this is a waste of time, but I don't want to spend any time on parts that feel adequate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. I think we'll invite some new parts. I think I'm interested in wall, and I'm interested in motivation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you interested in those two?
I am. And I actually think that distinguishing static from wall
Yeah.
is super astute and
Yeah.
helpful.
Very good. That's exactly right. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Because I think Storm almost felt like maybe a representative or some kind of protector of wall or some kind of, I don't know.
Mm,
I don't feel like they're the same part.
right. Yeah, I think you're spot on.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think I have a little plan. Now, would you where would you like to go? Would you want to go to the woods? Do you want to go to the beach? Where would you like to go?
Great question.
It doesn't have to be a nature scene either. We can go anywhere.
I feel like it is okay. I grew up on the water, so
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's always water around.
Okay.
Um, but it feels very okay. So the place that I grew up in has just beach grass everywhere. I grew up
Uh-huh.
on Lake Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's sandy. It's beach grassy. There are like some trees. It actually looks a lot like coastal England.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's not like California coast and it's not like a forest.
Right. Right. It's its own thing. It's its own unique thing. And you know what it looks like and you know what it feels like. Okay.
Hmm.
Are we on a sunny day? Is this summertime? Is
Hmm.
this fall? What's the weather?
It's okay, it's fall
Okay.
and it's like mid-September, the type of fall that happens in Western Michigan where the water is warm from the summer all
Uh-huh.
year, but the air is starting to get cold and it'll do this thing where it drizzles and rains and you can be in the water and being like rained on at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's such an interesting temperature experience.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's that kind of a day.
Yeah, I love this. Okay. Like, and it's fall, so it doesn't necessarily need to be like super sunny outside, but it could be because it's fall. So maybe it feels almost like kind of an overcast, but warm enough to still
Mm.
get in the water.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, cool. Wonderful. All right. So we're probably gonna go till a little after 3:30, just
Hmm.
a few
Hmm.
minutes after. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. And
Okay.
I'm gonna move my desk
Yeah,
into
get yourself in your.
position.
I have a stand-up desk too. They're pretty. It's like
It's so helpful.
it's so helpful. It really, really is. Especially if you have
Yeah.
any kind of neurospiciness, because you
Yes.
can't be in the same position all day long.
Literally, the walking treadmill, when the walking treadmill came into my life,
Yeah,
it was like such an amazing game changer for me.
totally.
Okay.
No, we have one too. It's amazing. Perfect. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
have my better AirPods in
Yes. Go
today.
ahead and get
So,
your. Yep. You can do that if you want to. If you want to make any modifications, or if you need to use the restroom or anything, you can do that too.
I'll do
Yeah.
that really quick.
Okay. I'll pause the recording.
Do an arm check because I know last time I was sideways.
Yeah. But you know
And
what?
is
Th-
this better?
that's beautiful, actually. Yeah, you can do
Okay.
that. I just want you to be comfortable. We won't have to do too much arm stuff because,
Okay.
well, there's two ways that we can do this. I can we can do an ideomotor function, which means that you can lift up your finger to tell me like if and when you're there. But
Mm,
you also did a really good job verbalizing and kind of talking through things. And I was able to kind of note take for you.
Okay.
So, but I want to ask you how you feel. Would it be, do you think that you'd be able to go deeper into hypnosis if you didn't talk? For some people, it doesn't really matter, but
I don't think it will matter
okay.
because I noticed even the talking that I was doing last time was very different.
Right. It's
Yeah.
very segmented. It's in strange little phrases, and you don't feel like you have to elaborate. It's just, you know, and so that's hypnotic speak. And I love it because it's very simple. It's the
It's so simple.
subconscious speak is like, I wish we could all speak like that. It would be pretty, like, I feel like the world would be totally different, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If at any point this time and any time that you're like, I'm not feeling like talking, there's a million other ways to communicate while you're under hypnosis. So you don't have
Okay.
to. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. So get yourself cozy. You can take your glasses off if you want to. I
Yes.
prefer them off. I know that you can't see, but you won't need to. You don't need to see where we're going.
Excellent. Excellent. All
Okay.
right.
So get yourself cozy and yep. And get yourself all, yeah, grounded. All right. So we're going to take a couple of really nice deep breaths, and we're going to do that same breathing, that 3-6 breathing, where we're breathing in for 3 seconds. We'll hold at the top for just a beat, and then we'll release for 6 seconds or more. We're going to take several of these breaths, just breathing in and breathing out. And as you're taking these deep breaths, counting in for 3 and out for 6, you can allow the eyes to roll around in the back of the head. If you want to access the subconscious mind deeper, you can even roll the eyes up into the center a couple of times, symbolizing or asking the mind to open up, stimulating the pineal gland, just breathing, relaxing. And this is exactly what you did, why you showed up today. You showed up today just to relax. And so, mission accomplished already. And so, as you're breathing in and out, we can start to notice how the body is sinking into the chair beneath you, allowing the body to make any adjustments at any time throughout this process to get more comfortable. This just allows the body to feel free in the moment. All fidgets, all things are welcome. And all of those things just help the body to get more comfortable so we can go even deeper into hypnosis. Just allowing those moments to happen, all while remembering that we're taking these deep breaths in and out. And on that exhale, you can feel the fall of the breath and how it sinks into the back of the chair. That sinking feeling can allow you to go deeper and deeper into the back of the chair, just melting, relaxing, allowing that kind of melting, relaxing sensation or energy to move into the top of your head, sensing, visualizing, imagining, pretending even that beautiful melting, falling feeling, gentle relaxation all the way through the top of your head, into your temples and your eyelids, into your cheeks and jaw, down all parts of your neck, into your shoulders, relaxing and releasing the jaw, even relaxing the ears and all of the little muscles that we don't even know about, inviting that melting relaxation into your shoulders, down your upper arms, into your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, and your hands, allowing that calming sensation to fill up your chest and belly, unwinding, letting go, moving into your hips, your back, your thighs, your knees, just relaxing, letting go. deeper and deeper, noticing that relaxation and that energy moving all around your legs, swirling around and all the spaces in between, moving down into your kneecaps, your shins and your calves, moving that relaxation into your ankles and all of the little tiny muscles and bones and tendons in your feet, your heels, your arches, and all 10 toes, allowing the full body to just relax, calm down. And in this calm state, you can tell yourself that the calmer you are, the more relaxed you are, the deeper we can go, allowing the body to take this beautiful time to relax. Relaxation is such deep healing work. The body gets to heal while the mind feels free to go on a journey to do its own healing. And the chair will support the body, and the universe and me and you will support the mind. Everyone is safe to feel free right now. And let's travel to a Lake Michigan type of place, a beach with lovely beach grass. It's that perfect fall-like weather, and the water is still warm from the summertime. The air is cool. The temperature is just perfect. There's a gentle mist in the air even, and maybe you'll want to experience the feeling of being in the water. And if you do, you can allow yourself to travel into the water, or you can walk, or you can sit. Try a couple of those on and see what feels right. And wherever we're going, should feel really good and safe, and in a place that we could hang out for a little while. Whenever you get to the place that you're going, that you want to hang out for a little while, nod your head yes, but take your time. Wonderful. Okay, so where are you right now?
Right. I took a swim. I'm on the shore under a little cabana, wooden thing, and snap chair breeze. It's not dark. That's good.
Beautiful. Now, settle into this scene. Allow yourself to get comfortable in that chair. Really settle in, tap into the air around you and the full atmosphere. I'm going to give you a moment of silence to be able to do that. Now, when you're doing that, I also want you to infuse the space with a gentle, kind compassion that feels open, like an open forum, so that you can invite people into this space and everyone will feel cozy. Take your time. And when you feel like you have created that space that feels safe to invite, go ahead and nod your head yes, but take your time. Okay. All right. So we're there. And I want you to look in the horizon, kind of far off in the distance. And I want you to notice that there are two energies coming towards you. Both of these energies are parts of you. One of them is the motivation factor, and one of them symbolizes the wall. And as you watch them walking towards you, you're sending them a message and an energy of invitation and openness. You're here to listen. You're here to help. And when they come, approach your area and sit down, let me know by nodding your head yes, but take your time. All right, so we have two parts here, and I want you to describe one at a time who they are, maybe how old they are, maybe what they look like, if they're human, any of those things that are happening, anything you'd like to share.
Okay. Motivation part is hard to explain. It's on standing wave of water, and there's a fishbowl wave, and there's a goldfish inside the fishbowl. 3 years old. That's all I have.
Okay. Are there three goldfish?
3 years old.
3 years
One
old.
goldfish.
Okay.
3 years old.
Got it. Now, I wonder if motivation is showing up as the goldfish or the whole entire scene?
Whole scene.
Whole.
Also, water is connected to the groundwater, underwater.
Wonderful. Okay. Now, does motivation want to be called something else?
Waltz, like the dance. I'm so resistant to that, but that's what's coming up.
Okay. We're going to use that waltz. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, is there anything else that Waltz would like to share with us right now?
The goldfish inside is holding up like a white flag, like a surrender flag.
Okay. Does Waltz feel safe that we are both here?
The cartoon noise when someone's leaving, like the tick 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 tick, like the
Mm-hmm.
skedaddly noise
Mm-hmm.
is like playing over here, but they're not going away.
Okay. That's fine. We'll just let Waltz know that anytime they want to leave, they can. They don't have to stay, but we appreciate them being here. All right. Now let's move over to Wall and see if Wall can give us any information, if they want to be called something else, maybe how old they are and what they are showing up as.
Wall is showing up as looks like a mix between Muck, the Muck Pokemon, the one that's really gooey and big, and like No Face when he is eating all the stuff and like getting goo everywhere. It's a very gooey, brown, drippy, molassesy, almost like a spirit. He's really embarrassed.
Okay. Does does he want to be called anything else? Is it okay if we call them Wall? Okay. And does Wall feel like Wall has a pronoun? Does motivation have a pronoun?
Sorry, motivation is using flags to communicate. I think motivation is closest probably to how I feel about gender. It's like all of the genders and none of the genders at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Could we use they?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So going back to Wall, do we have a sense of how old Wall is?
One.
And has Wall been there since Rochelle was a baby, or when when do we have a sense that Wall was born?
Hmm. When my pelvis bone grew,
Okay.
like it's a bone, when that bone formed in utero.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in utero. Okay. So a long time Wall's been with Rochelle. Now, I want to just send a little blanket message to everyone here. All of your emotions and every way that you feel is fine, normal, and natural. And there are no bad parts. Everybody has so much worth. And so I want to ask Wall if there's any kind of information that he wants to share around the embarrassment that he feels.
He feels really exposed without the static. Like he's
Ah.
very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like he smells stuff and he's really dirty. He doesn't usually condense into this form. He's usually spread out like a film.
Is there anything that we can do to make him feel more comfortable in this moment?
Storm came up and is sitting with Wall, and they know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's helping the Wall feel a little more safe. Friends.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you, Storm. That's so wonderful. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about why everyone is here, what your roles are for Rachelle. And we're also going to see if there's anything that you all would like to do differently, if there's anything that you love doing or don't like doing. And we want to hear from anybody that these two that have anything to share with each other or Rachelle. So is there anyone that would like to kind of come forward first?
Well,
Great.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, what's your job?
Brown, water, motivation, water, dirty, cover.
Do you like your job?
No.
What would you rather be doing?
Water, be water instead of sludge.
Now, if you were to do that and become that, how would that affect Rachelle?
Safer, less thirsty, existentially thirsty, more sun, collaborative, like water cycle.
Okay. Now, we're going to ask Rachelle, would it be okay if Wall changed roles? Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Emphatic, yes. Okay. So will you tell Wall, Rachelle? Go ahead and tell them in your mind. Tell him, give him the permission he needs. See how he responds. Take your time. And when you're ready, you can share. But take your time. Okay. How'd that go?
Are you familiar with Studio Ghibli?
A little.
Okay. There's a character who's a river spirit named Haku, and I love Haku. And Wall reminds me of Haku. Under the mud, just this orb of water. When he feels free, he goes in and out of form and kind of water blob through the air. I can like go inside the water blob. It's very fun, very joyful.
Amazing. So this feels more open and available, kind of fun, but this energy feels more, it seems like it feels more true to form now to who he is. Is that true? Yes. Now, in this form, does he want to be called anything different?
Molecule.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Some like a never mind.
Okay. We're gonna leave Molecule here for a second to kind of play in his new form. Just let him kind of get comfortable with this new form because this is kind of new for him. And we're gonna move over to Waltz. Okay. And I know that he was communicating with flags before. That's fine. So I want to ask Waltz what their job is.
Preserve life, clean water, protect some water from mud.
Is that mud Wall? Do you like your job?
Boring.
Boring. Do you think you're good at your job? What would you rather be doing?
The part is the glass, I think. The glass would rather be sand, not holding, resting.
That's such good information. Now, if you turned into sand, how do you think that would affect Rachelle?
But also not sure.
Why don't you, are you curious to know?
Scared.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Why don't we ask Rachelle to give you a little love for a second? And give you some moments of silence to kind of have a little conversation there. Same as you did with Molecule. When you're ready to share, you can, but take your time.
Okay. Better.
Okay.
Concerns. If Waltz was sand, first they were concerned about having to fight the wall as sand, like sandblasting, and doesn't want to hurt anyone.
Mm.
And then I explained that wall is now a molecule in this water and that they don't have to fight. Then concern if sand that they will lose their form, become like not a part of me. And I said, like, all of the sand is part of me. And they're like very unsure.
That's totally fine. That makes a lot of sense. Seems like they've been doing this a long time. Have a sense of how long? Maybe when they were born?
When I was 3.
All right. So we're gonna just allow Waltz to be where they are. You don't need any changes. We invite Waltz. If you do want to turn into sand, maybe even just try it on, you can. How does that feel?
Good. My heart relaxes.
You want to try it?
And
Oh, go ahead.
I realized that I was always sand, but had to harden to hold water as my job. So this isn't new. It's going back to my first form of sand.
Which sand does hold water. It's very
Mm.
absorbent, isn't it?
Mm.
It allows water to expand and flow, and it allows
Mm.
kind of water to take its own form inside of you. Such an infusion.
Collaborative.
So we'll just leave you with that thought. You can try that on. You can do it now. You can do it anytime. It's kind of exciting, something new, something different. So both of these parts are so, so, so incredibly important and so loved. They're so needed. And it's time, though, for everybody to consider changing form because Rachelle really needs to have Rachelle's fullness back and integrated. So we know that it might take some time getting used to our new forms or even just thinking about bringing our new forms about. But we're going to just kind of allow this space to feel complete for now. We can always come back together, talk more, but you all can continue the work even throughout the weeks that we're not together. And when you do continue the work, we ask for it to be graceful and as gentle as possible. We ask for more energy to come forward, more creative energy, and more flow for Rachelle so that Rachelle's life can feel a little bit more doable, more energetic, more kind, more collaborative. And as you kind of fade back into the background of the horizon, I want you two to know that as you fade into the horizon, whatever you do next after this is going to be really fun and relaxing. You can take those forms that you like to take. And Rachelle gives you kind of a blessing around that. And as you find them, Rachelle, fading into the background, you can send them some gratitude. And as they fade into the background, you find yourself in that cozy spot with the fire and the perfect temperature and this cozy spot, this quiet relaxation. We're going to add this feeling to that anchor in your fingers. We don't have to do the finger motion. You already know it, but you can if you want. Perfect. Yes. We're going to pinch for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Infusing this feeling into your anchor. It's taking 3 big deep breaths in this place, knowing that this feeling and all of this information will integrate with your body. And when you come back into this space, you'll come back feeling energized and you'll come back feeling whole and complete. You'll come back with more and enough energy for the rest of the day, sleeping well tonight, and allowing those venting dreams, those early morning venting dreams, to release anything that needs to be released. And I'll count from 0 to 5. And each count will represent coming up higher into attention. And when I say 5, you can open your eyes and enter back into the space. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Eyes open. Just take a minute to acclimate to your space.
Find my eyeballs.
Yep, find your eyeballs. That was good stuff, my friend. That was good.
That one felt so different.
Yeah.
It felt like so deep. Like we were working with like my bones. Like it felt so like fabric of my being kind of vibe. Like it felt really weird, to be honest.
Totally.
Not bad, but like really weird.
Strange. Yeah. My client right before you was like, am I okay? That was so weird. I'm like, you're okay. You're more than okay. This is a weird world. That's why I say, like, the very first, when we first meet each other, I'm like, listen, you just let it go. It's going to get really weird. It just is, because, the subconscious mind speaks in strange symbols, and it has to go really, really deep. And we have to we're trained to pull apart the symbols, it doesn't communicate with regular language. So, we have to kind of dig around. And honestly, the more you do hypnosis, each time you go deeper and deeper. That's what it's designed to do.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's right on.
Cool. Very fascinating.
No, I know. It really, really is. I think
so cool.
It is so cool. And I think that this is really, really, I love that part, the molecule part, felt able to change forms.
Like so fast.
So fast.
I was like, oh, we're gonna be stuck in like the mud, like poor thing, like so muddy for so long. And it's like, oh no. Okay.
The permission was granted.
Yeah.
And he knew that it was going to benefit you. And all of the parts are just trying to benefit you. Even if they're showing up in strange behaviors like protector or wall or static or anything like that, that they think they're helping. And so until we tell them that actually we're all on the same page, you don't want to be doing this, and we don't really need you to be doing it anymore. In fact, if you don't want to do it anymore, it would be actually super helpful for all of us. Like they're like, what really? Like, oh, I mean, they just don't know. They don't know. They live in that land, and that's the only place that they live. They don't have perspective. They don't. They just know one thing. So sometimes just literally opening it up and being like, actually, they're like, man, I've been waiting for this. See ya, and sometimes they stick around a little longer, and they're like a little bit like kind of like Waltz was like, I don't know what happens if I change form. What, I don't know. Like, and sometimes the unknown is a little uncomfortable. But when we started to kind of incorporate the sand as, wait a second, like, you're still going to be, not only are you going to still be part of Rachelle, but you're going to kind of be more, like, take up all of this lovely space, and sand holds water. I'm like, what? Oh,
very cool. Actually, as they were kind of receding, I saw them working together making sand castle, like, but like of like wild topiary kind of sandcastle vibes. Like just like building a thing and then it would fall down, and building a thing and then it would fall down.
whoa.
So it's so interesting that they're already collaborating, but hearing that like sand holds water it was very interesting to be in like my brain, in my like hypnotized self
Yeah.
as this is happening. So I was like, this makes zero sense. And then when you're like, well, sand holds water, like, oh my God, this is actually really smart. This is a really smart symbol that somehow got cooked up. Like
You
it makes a lot of sense.
you are smart. You are smart. And it does make a lot of, isn't it so wild? Like it's like it feels primitive. Like this doesn't make any sense at all. How could any of this, none of this has anything to do with anything. But like we're legit trained to like
Yeah.
to look at this and be like, this is something. And it all comes from somewhere. It's you, all of it. And it's so deep and so wise. It's the smartest, oldest parts of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think
Wow.
I think you're going to have a significant amount of relief this time.
Yeah. I think it feels like different skin in a way.
Yeah. The avatar's changing. Like, I don't, yeah.
Happening. Yeah. I feel a little last time I really felt it in my head, like there was like a pressure change. This time I feel a lot more in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad way, but just become a cloud or something.
Totally. Totally. It's a strange thing. This is weird. I'm never going to take that away from hypnosis. It is a weird world that we are in. But this is kind of why, as you and I start to grow, and I mean, as we start to know each other more and go deeper into this, I can imagine this is going to start to be even more illuminating and all of the things. And so, we just let it unfold how it's going to unfold. I mean, we already know it's working. The biggest part that I came that just all of this is that they're already collaborating. So if they're already collaborating and we've given them permission to continue the work while
Yeah,
you're in the
brilliant.
right. Yeah. While you're in the waking world, right? Okay. I'm going to do my own thing and be with my wife and cook dinner and go to the Costco or, you know what I mean? Whatever I'm going to do, you don't have to do anything. We've given them permission to work behind the scenes for you and continue the repatterning.
Yeah.
I know. Got little working bees happening for you. Such good stuff. I know. Genuinely. So good.
Genuinely so good. I appreciated the call out about the dreams too, like those like early morning dreams, just letting stuff kind of shift out of my brain. I've noticed that, and I haven't, so I appreciate the extra permission because I typically like pay attention a little bit, or I try to pay attention to my dreams, but the past few weeks it's just been like I have no idea what's going
That world is even stranger. Seriously. If you happen to remember something and you bring it into therapy, great. But if not, just let it be. Like it's better out than in. You know what I mean? Like just like let it go because it really does not need to be there anymore. It's genuinely kind of it's honestly, if you remember one of them, that is something that we need to kind of like investigate a little bit. But if you don't remember any of them, they're kind of just garbage. It's ready to be released and it needs to go.
Good. Tropical brain.
Exactly.
Keep at it.
That's right. That's so good. Keep doing that. Like, yes, you're doing such a good job. So good. So good. And from here, for the rest of the day, you can kind of just go about however your body feels. If you want to relax, you want to take a nap, you can kind of go off and do whatever you want to do today. Just kind of be gentle, but you should have a little bit, more energy to kind of work with tomorrow, especially. So just kind of pay attention to that. And yeah. Is there anything else you want to share?
So dim. There we go. I'm more lit. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Fading sun.
Yep.
No, I don't think so. I'm like definitely I'm a little bit more gobsmacked this time. Very cool. I just thank you so much. Thanks for going
Honestly,
going down the going in there with me.
My pleasure, my honor. Honestly, this is like the most I feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet now. I've been like seeking my life to be like what am I supposed what and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So, genuinely, I really appreciate being able to kind of like live amongst like doing this work. I also do this work. I have it done. I mean, it's
Yeah,
profound,
yeah.
it's beautiful, it really helps. And I'm just so honored to be able to share it with my community. It's really, really awesome. So thank you. And I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm sending so much love. So much.
Sending lots of love. Big hugs.
Yes,
Thank you.
exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You're very welcome.
Thank
And
you.
we have all of our next ones set up, so we don't really need to do anything. Don't have to worry about anything. Now, was
Gorgeous.
anything come up today that you don't want me to put on the recording if we were to?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. Awesome. If anything does come up and you think of anything, let me know.
I think we're good.
Okay.
No flags.
Okay. All right. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Oh, and happy
Okay.
birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Get it.
All right.
See
Take
you
care.
soon.
All right. Bye.